It's that time again. Get up, get off the couch, and tackle your own to-do list. On today's episode, we teach you the right way to drywall. It's that time again. Load the truck, ladders, tools, all materials. And don't forget the coffee maker. Let's go. Love home rental? You found the right channel. The Just Ask Bob Show. We bring it to you today on location. This is part 3 of our basement series. 2 episodes ago, we began with wall framing your basement. Then the last episode, we talked about insulation and vapor barrier. And on today's episode, the final stages, the drywall and the mudding finishing components. Very, very important to demystify the process so that you yourself can do your work. For those of you that haven't tuned in before, the Just Ask Bob Home Improvement Show has 2 goals in mind always. Number 1, to motivate you to get up, get off the couch, and tackle that never-ending to-do list. Goal number 2, to fully demystify home improvements. For those of you, for whatever reason, cannot do the work yourself, maybe the ladder's not tall enough to reach the 2nd story eaves trough, or maybe you simply do not have the time. That's fine, no problem at all. We will demystify the process, we'll explain things, and we'll educate you and help you find what I like to call the right contractor for you and your home. Not any contractor, but the right one for you and your home. Unlike reality television, today's contractor is licensed. The master building repair and the contractor portion. Why is that important? Well, I can go on for hours, but I won't. Scan the QR code on your screen, which will take you to our database where you can watch over a dozen news interviews, which tell you the in and outs about licensing, insurance, and WSIB, and all that good stuff. Remember, this program is always a two-way street. You send us your questions, we'll do our very best to answer them. Let's kick it off today with the viewer's email. Hello, Bob. Can you please do a show on drywall and mudding? I do not want to see screw pops, and I do not want to have walls to crack continuously. Bob, I know you do real good work. Sonny, thank you very much for the email. Now, this is definitely a DIY project, and you can do this with your family and your friends. You have to know the in and outs. You have to have a few simple tools. It's not going to break the bank. So pay attention. Follow us through the program. Enjoy. We're at our job site. Obviously, the plan today is drywall. As you can see, we've got it started. We have, however, left lots of drywall uninstalled, so we can teach you today the proper procedures on how to do it. Number 1, we're going to begin with finishing off the ceiling. And for this, Bob needs some help. Ryan! On this particular job, we made a decision to leave the plaster ceiling intact and to glue and screw drywall over top of it. Now, yes, this can be done. It does save on demolition. It does save on time. There are a couple of requirements. The plaster has to be structurally intact. It can't be hanging loose and falling off, which was not the case here. And then what you use is longer screws. We're using 2-inch screws. That way we can penetrate the old plaster and go into the wood framing. The other condition is we're using construction adhesive. Not only any construction adhesive, but PL polyurethane, which is extremely strong. I've done this on many, many jobs over the last 2 decades. Never had a ceiling come loose. Absolutely never had a problem. Those of you at home, you're probably wondering, why are we using a drywall lift when this sheet of drywall is 8 feet? The majority of drywall on this ceiling is 12 footers. We staggered them, a 12 and 8, a 12 and 8, a 12 and 8. On 12-foot sheets, this thing really helps. Very handy tool to have.
Hold on. Pull it off the wall a little more.
Takes a little bit of practice.
Right. Now it's gotta come to me.
Okay, let me push it to you. How's that?
Okay, push harder. Here we go.
Okay. You know what? I've got it in place now. I'm holding it. Jump down, crank it up. It should stay. I've got it pinched tight to here and tight to here. Crank it up as much as you can. Okay, take a peek all the way around. All right, time to have some fun. For those of you at home, like I say and I mean it, believe me, when you cut the crooked overcharging contractor out of the equation, here's where you spend the money. Take your savings and buy the best tools you can afford. This makes the job easy. Now that we have enough screws to hold everything in place, we can lower this, get it out of the way, and then get in there with a normal ladder and start adding some extra screws where needed. We have a bit of a unique situation here. One of the 4 walls in this basement is brick. Homeowner wanted to keep the brick, keep the authentic look of the fireplace. We had to do a lot of specialized framing here. Lots and lots of contoured angled framing. Reason for the cardboard, reason for the black tape is to protect the brickwork from the mudding. Now, depending how nice our mudding turns out, it may be stunning and it works on its own, or we may have to put some trim up against it. We'll have to see when we get to that. Let's take a moment now to talk about electrical receptacle and outlet protection plates. These have a little needle here. Your drywall is going to pop over it. Here we have the wires for the receptacle. Power is obviously off. We're going to fold them in safely. The zip cut blade is very sharp, so you want to make sure your wires are protected. Drywall will go over. The yellow little nose here will pierce through, and then with a zip cut tool, we cut all around it. Nice. There she is. We've got our Milwaukee M18 zip cut rotary tool. Let's see how this goes. Not bad, nice and safe. Full yellow protection plate visible. Pull it out. As you can see, we've only got 2 screws here. We didn't want to overpress anything because you'd crack it. Now, nice and easily, finish the row of screws. And there you have it. Excellent. Very important to have a drywall T-square. You make your mark, or you double check your mark. Put on your T-square. The T-square has a little slit here. A little slit where the knife's going to fit. Right there. Now you want to make your cut. Put your boot up against the T-square. Cut nice and straight. Come back up from the bottom up. Now we're going to snap it. Good strong knee. Snap. Bring it in. Eject your knife. And cut. Very, very easy. Very DIY friendly for you and the family. Always helps to have a chalk line. You good, Ryan? You have to always remember, you want taper to taper. The 4-foot area, it's a butt-to-butt joint. Butt-to-butt joints need 24 inches wide mudding. So you're going to mud a foot this way and a foot that way. Over here, you might be able to see if you look long ways down here, this is a taper, it's a valley. When two tapers go together, they create a recess. The recess is where your mesh tape or your paper cloth tape goes. It's an indentation to allow you space to do the mudding. All right, now we're going to cut. Let's see how well I stay on my blue line. I've done this once or twice before. Use the longest sheets you can possibly get into your home or basement. I recommend 12-foot sheets. Plan it well. You want to eliminate the mudding. That's the messy part. That's the part that takes intense skill. There we go. It's right on the money. Now, Ryan, let's bring it out. Okay. And now we give it a knee. Okay. And now we slice. Now that all the drywall is done, we're going to talk about filling in the voids, filling in the misses. Yes, it happens to the best of us, but I promise you, when it's all said and done, you'll never see anything. We train our co-op students on these job sites at times. As you can see there, we've got a little bit of a pop and a bust around the receptacle. No problem at all. We pre-pack that with hot mud. We fill everything in. Now to your right, you're going to see a little pop at the bottom. Baseboards. Bob's not worried at all. 4¼ inch tall, gorgeous baseboards will hide that. Even though it's going to hide it though, I'm still going to fill it. Everything gets filled. Everything gets pre-packed. I'm very picky as well with my inside 90-degree corners. What you're looking at now is the gap between the wall and the ceiling. New home construction, new home builders, they don't fill that. And then you get a lot of pops, you get a lot of rips and tears. That will be filled, packed, tight, hot mud only. Durabond 90 with a steel inside metal corner. Now you can see Ryan packing in at the top. Slight gap between the wall and the ceiling. Packing and forcing in Durabond 90 to create a nice tight fill. We have completed our first coat of pre-filling. So as you can see, it's really seaming itself along. Everything's starting to look harmonious. Everything's starting to come together. We talked about how we had one of the breaks at the bottom. Obviously, the baseboard will hide it, and yet we still packed it in with Durabond 90. I like everything solid. Solid and harmonious. Let's talk about the joints. Right here we have what's called the taper to a taper. It's a little valley. So there's a recess that's pre-made. This valley creates an innie, which will receive the joint tape. Over here, we have a butt to a butt. So along the 4-foot joints, it's butt to butt. Along the 8-foot, 10-foot, or 12-foot long lengths, you have a taper to taper. Let's talk about the two most popular options in finishing your joint. Number one is, I like to call it builder's tape. This is simply paper. That's all this is paper. This is what's used throughout the province of Ontario, all new home construction. Why is it used? Because it's fast, it's dirty, and it's cheap. That's the main reason why it's used. Is it a good product? No. Are new homes in Ontario riddled with cracks in the drywall throughout the homes? Yes, they are. I prefer fiberglass mesh tape. Fiberglass mesh tape will not rip. I can pull on that as hard as I want. That's not going to rip. Let me give you the equivalent. Open your mind's eye and think now. When you add Durabond 90 hot mud setting compound to fiberglass mesh tape, it is the equivalent, as an analogy, of adding metal rebar to concrete. It is strong, it is structural, it will resist cracks for the life of your home. So very, very important to think it through. And it's DIY friendly, easy to apply, self-stick. Stretch it out. You want to center it on the gap, on the joint. Press it in. Give it a good push. Pull out another length. Get a good push. Continue to the end. And then cut it off. You will not get a stronger connection for your two lengths. Now, Ryan should have our Durabond 90 mixed. Let's show you how to apply that with the setting compound. You have two choices as to the tools you're going to use for your mud. You've got the Hawk, Just Ask Bob approved, or you've got the stainless steel mud pan. Time to fill the fiberglass. Now, the most important thing is you want to remove all of it. You do not want to fill the taper. Because remember, we still have to do a few more coats here. So you're taking all the excess out. That's how you leave it. This is not how you leave it. Wrong, right. You need to leave the taper recessed because remember, we still got a few coats of ready-made mud. So not hard to do, you just pull out your excess. This fiberglass mesh tape is thicker than paper, so it requires a lot of experience. It's harder to finish, to create an invisible joint. That's why a lot of people prefer the paper. Yes, the paper is easier to finish, yes, and cheaper to buy. But what it's missing is strength. Now we're ready for the corner. Doesn't matter whether it's wall to wall or wall to ceiling. Here on my right, we've got paper tape. This is the exact same paper tape that I showed you builders in Ontario are using for the taper-to-taper joint on your wall. It's the same tape, it's pleated, and you fold it. Now the one on my left. Look the same? Not really. This is metal. This is steel tape, reinforced with paper. You want to apply your mud generously. Just like that. To both sides. Once again, metal, Durabond 90. What's it equivalent to? Adding lengths of steel rebar to your concrete driveway. You do not want to simply have paper in your corners. Your home, your choice. Now, it's all about penetration. You push. Sure, I can use the tools, but Bob's got strong hands, strong fingers. We push. All right? Now, we get in with the Hawk and we pull out all the excess. You must get the excess out. We're creating a corner that's strong as metal, strong as concrete, which will stand the test of time. Lots of pressure. Pulling out product. There we go. We're a little bit shy at the bottom, but the baseboards go there anyway. All right, tidy up at the top a little. Now, as you can see, We've got many, many more lengths to install. We've got to go around the entire room and lock in and finish every single wall to ceiling corner. After this, we're going to let everything set up and dry overnight. We're going to get the blower equipment out to circulate the air. We're back at it tomorrow. All right, we're loading up our ready mix mud. It comes under a lot of names, all-purpose, ready-made. This is the light, Bob's favorite. I love the light. Yesterday, we applied our mesh tape and our Durabond 90. Very important for the viewers at home to understand. Durabond 90 is not sandable. We use it to seam together any breaks or any pops or issues, seam together the taper joints, the butt joints, the ceiling to wall joints. It's the structure, it's the strength, but it can't be sanded. The second coat that goes on is the pre-mixed stuff. Think of this as the lipstick and mascara. This is the beauty. This doesn't have structure. This is for looks. This will seam everything together. And it takes a lot of experience to work with this product. You want to apply it as neatly as you can without getting it all over you. Again, it's your home. When you cut the crooked and overcharging contractor out of the equation, you save money. You purchase the tools, you purchase the supplies, and you do everything yourself. Now with mud, a little goes a long way. You don't want to be sanding this stuff like crazy. That's pretty well all you need. This needs to be sanded. Now, as you can tell by looking around the room, everything was done a little time ago. It still needs to be drying in some spots. We're going to sand this. This is our brand new sander with a vacuum attachment. I love this. Keeps our customers' homes clean, keeps the dust down. We're going to sand it smooth. Then we're going to primer the room. The primer is the key ingredient. All new drywall must be primered. After the primer, you shine the light on it, you focus, you look carefully. Any indentations or little surface imperfections, I like to touch them up with pink putty. Goes on pink and dries white. And there you have it. We're essentially done here. We've taken it to the primer stage. Homeowner's going to be painting this themselves. Now you might ask, why the primer stage? That's very important. I will not take on mudding projects for my company unless the homeowners allow me at the very least to take it to primer stage. The primer takes the surface and makes it solid white throughout. We need that in order to catch what I call mudding deficiencies. If there's a screw head that's showing through, or if there's a taper to taper or a butt joint that isn't quite flawless, so to speak, isn't feathered in or could be feathered in better. That's why we take it to the primer stage. And as you can see here, a labor of love. Stay tuned and follow us up next where we show you Bob's top picks and Bob's bewares. For everything home rental, follow us on social media. Now we're on an important part of the program called Bob's Top Picks and Bob's Bewares, based on my 25 years experience in this industry to teach you. Number one top pick is the Milwaukee M18 screw gun with the correlated screw attachment. This thing is beautiful. This thing was a lot of fun. So please remember, when you're cutting the crooked overcharging contractor out of the equation, you save money. Buy yourself some toys that you can enjoy all around your home. Now for a Bob's Beware, it's the paper tape. This stuff's absolutely garbage. Rips like paper because it is made out of paper. Remember to use metal corner tape everywhere around your home. Now we've got an extra bonus to talk about. It is the Drydex Pink Putty. Phenomenal product. Once you primer, you get out the pink putty, Goes on pink, dries white. Scan everything with your eye, scan everything with a flashlight. Any little imperfections, hit them with the pink putty. We proudly boast the largest home improvement database on the net. Visit us at justaskbob.com. All 3 different ways to learn. Learn by watching, learn by reading, and learn by listening on our database. Quick shout out to John Best of the Bay Observer, who has picked up our newsletter, and visit our website to subscribe to our newsletter. Feeling old school? Want to chat directly? Absolutely no problem at all. Pick up the phone anytime. 289-649-0196. Again, that's 289-649-0196. Until next time, thank you.